Welcome back to Coin Quest, where we explore the hidden treasures in your pocket change and coin collections. Today we're diving into a fascinating topic that many collectors and even everyday folks don't realize could be sitting in their piggy bank right now. We're talking about the 1976 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. While most people see it as just another copper coin in their change jar, some of these coins can actually be worth a lot of money. So grab your coins, and let's take a closer look. First things first, let's talk about what makes the 1976 penny special. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, Abraham Lincoln has been on the penny for decades, and you'd be right. The Lincoln cent was first introduced back in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. But the 1976 penny stands out for a few different reasons, and some rare varieties from that year can fetch serious cash among collectors. The 1976 penny was struck during the United States bicentennial year, which marked 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. While the penny itself didn't receive a special design for the bicentennial like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins did, the 1976 Lincoln cent was still part of a significant time in U.S. history. It was produced at multiple mints, including Philadelphia and Denver, and these mint marks play an important role in determining a coin's rarity and value. Now let's break it down. The standard 1976 Lincoln penny from Philadelphia does not have a mint mark, and over 4 billion of these coins were minted. The Denver Mint also produced over 4 billion pennies that year, marked with a small letter D just below the date. Because these coins were made in such large numbers, most of them are only worth face value unless they are in uncirculated or mint condition. But there are exceptions, and this is where it gets exciting. Some of the 1976 Lincoln pennies were struck with errors, and these are the ones collectors go crazy for. For example, you may find a double die penny where the details on the coin, such as the lettering or Lincoln's profile, appear doubled. This happens during the minting process, when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between impressions. A 1976 penny with a strong double die error, especially on the words, "I in God we trust liberty," or the date, can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on condition. Another thing to look out for is an off-center strike. That's when the coin was not properly aligned when it was stamped, so the design is shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin. A 1976 penny that is off-center by 50% or more and still shows a full date can be worth over $100. You also have clipped planchet errors where part of the penny is missing because it was improperly cut during production. These clipped coins can sell for anywhere from $20 to over $100 depending on the severity and condition. Now here's a very interesting piece of information. Most 1976 pennies were made of copper. In fact, they're made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint changed the composition to mostly zinc with just a thin copper coating. So that means the 1976 penny still has some actual copper value. If copper prices are high enough, even common 1976 pennies can be worth more than 1 cent just for the metal alone. But be careful, melting down U.S. coins for metal is actually illegal, so keep them in your collection. Now let's talk about high-grade examples. If you happen to have a 1976 penny that has never been circulated, has no scratches or blemishes, and has a strong sharp strike, then you may be holding on to a coin worth a lot more than face value. Coins graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can sell for $15 to $50 or more. Some of the finest examples graded MS67 have sold for over $100 at auction in 2021. A 1976 D Lincoln cent graded MS67 red by PCGS sold for over $200. That's right, a coin that originally cost just 1 cent ended up being worth hundreds. That's the power of condition, rarity, and collector demand. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1976 penny? First, inspect it closely using a magnifying glass or loupe. Look for any errors or unusual features. Check the date, the mint mark, and the overall condition. If you think it might be special, consider getting it graded by a reputable service. Grading does cost money, but it can pay off big time if your coin turns out to be rare. You can also check online marketplaces like eBay or heritage auctions to see what similar coins are selling for. Just make sure to compare coins in the same condition as yours. Don't get fooled by inflated listings. Always look at what the coins actually sold for, not just what people are asking. And remember, even if your 1976 penny isn't worth hundreds of dollars, it's still a piece of American history. It represents a moment in time during the nation's bicentennial and carries the legacy of one of the greatest U.S. presidents, Abraham Lincoln. So go check your coin jars, your change drawers, and maybe even your grandparents' old collection. You never know what you might find. That tiny copper penny could be hiding a big story and a big value. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more coin collecting tips and treasure hunting stories, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a valuable penny, or if you want me to cover a specific coin in a future video. Until next time, keep collecting and happy hunting. If you're into coins, collectibles, or just love a good story about hidden treasures, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1984 1-cent Lincoln penny. This seemingly ordinary little copper coin might just be worth way more than you think. So grab your change jar, because by the end of this video, you might be checking your coins a little more carefully. Let's start with a bit of background. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909. That was the year the United States Mint first introduced the design, featuring the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. It marked the centennial of his birth and replaced the Indian head cent that had been circulating before that. The Lincoln cent became an instant icon, and it remains the longest-running design in U.S. coinage history. Now fast forward to 1984. By that time, the Lincoln Memorial Reverse had already been in place for 25 years, having been introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. In 1984, the Lincoln Memorial cent was still being struck at high volume, with billions of coins coming out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints. In fact, over 8 billion pennies were minted a year. But among those billions, a few special coins slipped through with something unusual. And that's where things get interesting. Why is the 1984 penny sometimes worth more than just 1 cent? The answer lies in what collectors call errors and varieties. One of the most famous and valuable 1984 Lincoln cent errors is the 1984 double die obverse. That's a fancy way of saying that part of the design, specifically Lincoln's face, was accidentally struck twice, creating a doubling effect. This isn't just a minor shift or blur. On a true double die, you can clearly see doubling on Lincoln's earlobe, and sometimes around the eye and jaw. This error happened during the die creation process at the mint. When a working die is made from a hub and the alignment isn't perfect during the process, doubling can appear. These errors are rare, and collectors love them. If you come across a 1984 penny with a doubled earlobe, you might just be looking at a coin worth serious money. Now let's talk numbers. A typical 1984 penny in circulated condition is worth, well, 1 cent. But the 1984 double die penny can be worth anywhere from $100 to over $1,000, depending on its condition. In mint state, meaning the coin has never been used and has no signs of wear, these coins can command a premium. For example, a 1984 double die penny graded MS65 red by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC can easily sell for $500 to $1,200 or even more at auction. And here's something else to keep in mind. Even if your 1984 penny isn't a double die, it might still be valuable if it's in pristine condition. Uncirculated 1984 pennies with rich red color and no damage can be worth a few dollars to collectors building high-grade coin sets. Proof versions of the 1984 penny, made especially for collectors and sold in sets, are also worth a bit more, especially if they're still sealed or have a perfect grade. But let's go back to that error coin, the 1984 double die. How can you tell if you have one? First, grab a magnifying glass or a coin loop. Look closely at Lincoln's earlobe. If it looks like there's an extra lobe or a shadow underneath it, that's the doubling. Compare it to a regular penny from another year to spot the difference. You can also check around the eye, nose, and jawline, but the earlobe is the big giveaway. If you think you found one, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can damage it and lower its value. Instead, put it in a safe sleeve or coin flip and get it checked out by a professional grader or take it to a local coin dealer for evaluation. You can also send it to PCGS or NGC for official grading, which can help you sell it for full value. Now let's talk about the current market in 2025. Coin collecting is hot right now, and error coins are in high demand. With inflation and the rising interest in tangible assets, more people are turning to coins not just for the hobby, but as investment pieces. As a result, prices for rare pennies, like the 1984 double die, have remained strong. Auction results from the last year show these coins selling steadily for several $100s, and occasionally hitting over $1,000 if they're in top shape. And don't forget, other varieties and errors exist for the 1984 penny too. There are off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and more. These aren't as famous as the double die, but they can still fetch a nice price depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. So to sum it up, if you've got a 1984 Lincoln penny lying around, it might just be worth more than you think. Especially if you've got one with the famous double die error. Keep an eye out for that doubled earlobe, check your change, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family who might have jars full of pennies sitting around. You never know, you could strike copper gold. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on rare coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures in your pocket change. Hit the bell so you never miss a chance to learn about the next coin that could be worth thousands. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck with your coin collecting journey. If you're a coin collector, a history buff, or just someone who's curious about the hidden treasures in your pocket change, then you're in for a real treat today, because in this video we're diving deep into the story of the 1998 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but could be worth far more than just a single cent. That's right, you might be carrying a small piece of history with a value that goes beyond its face. So let's start with the basics. The 1998 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced back in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person, and not just a symbolic image. And since then, Lincoln has remained on the penny, making it one of the most iconic coins in American history. The reverse design featured the Lincoln Memorial from 1959 until 2008, and the 1998 penny is one of the coins from this era. Now, by 1998, the penny was being struck primarily in zinc with a thin copper coating. That change actually started in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. Before that, pennies were 95% copper, but starting in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to a composition that's only 2.5% copper, with the rest being zinc. So if you've got a 1998 penny, it's most likely that copper-plated zinc type, unless of course you stumbled upon an error coin, but more on that in just a moment. As far as mint marks go, the 1998 penny was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, so you'll either see no mint mark at all, which means it came from Philly, or you'll see a small letter D just below the date, meaning It was minted in Denver. Both versions are pretty common, with hundreds of millions produced from each mint. In fact, over 5 billion pennies were made in 1998 alone. So you might be wondering what could possibly make this coin valuable. Well, here's where things get interesting. Not all 1998 pennies are created equal. There are certain variations and rare errors that can push their value way beyond a cent. For example, one of the most well-known varieties from 1998 is the wide AM reverse version. Let me explain. Between 1993 and 2008, the normal reverse of the penny had the letters A and M in the word America very close together, touching even. But the wide AM variety has a noticeable space between the A and the M, which was actually a reverse design meant for proof coins, but was mistakenly used on some regular circulation coins in 1998. If you find one of these wide AM pennies, it could be worth anywhere from $10 to $50, or even more depending on its condition. That's a huge jump from 1 cent. Collectors especially love these wide AM coins in high grades, meaning coins that haven't been worn down by years of circulation. If you've got a 1998 wide AM penny in uncirculated condition with a shiny surface and crisp details, it could easily sell for $100 or more on the collector market. In fact, in recent years, some examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC have sold for several $100s. But the wide AM isn't the only thing to look out for. There are also error coins from 1998 that collectors will pay big money for. For instance, off-center strikes coins that are misaligned, double die-obverse errors where you can see doubling in the lettering or numbers, and even clipped planchets where a part of the coin is literally missing due to a mistake in the cutting process. Each of these types of errors can increase the value significantly depending on how dramatic and rare they are. Now you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have a valuable 1998 penny? Well, first grab a magnifying glass and look closely at the back of the coin. Check the spacing between the A and the M in America. If there's a clear gap, you might have the wide AM variety. Then check for any doubling in the text or date on the front side, as that could signal a double die error. Also examine the edges and the overall shape to see if anything looks unusual or off-center. And if you suspect you have something rare, it's always a good idea to get it professionally graded. Let's talk current market value. As of 2025, the average 1998 penny in circulated condition is still just worth 1 cent. But if you've got a wide AM or a strong error coin, you could be looking at $10, $20, $50, or even more. Rare, high-grade examples, especially with professional certification, can go for hundreds of dollars on auction sites like eBay or through numismatic dealers. And here's the cool part: you don't have to be a hardcore collector to find these coins. They're out there in circulation in old jars and desk drawers, and maybe even in your pocket change right now. All it takes is a sharp eye and a little bit of knowledge. And now that you know what to look for, you might just uncover a small fortune in the form of a single penny. So to wrap it all up, the 1998 Lincoln penny is a fascinating piece of modern coinage history. It honors one of America's greatest presidents. It's part of a series that's been running for over a century. And while most are still worth just 1 cent, some rare varieties and errors can turn your penny into serious cash. Whether it's the wide AM reverse or a dramatic mint error, these hidden gems are out there waiting to be found. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments if you've ever found a valuable penny in your collection or in your change. We've got more awesome coin stories coming up, so stay tuned and keep hunting, because you never know what kind of treasure you'll discover next. See you in the next one, where we dive deep into the world of coins, currency, and the fascinating stories behind them. Today we're taking a close look at a small coin with a big history, the 2008 Abraham Lincoln 1 cent penny. This is more than just a piece of copper sitting in your change jar. In some cases, it could be worth a surprising amount of money. So stick around as we explore its background, how to identify valuable versions, and what collectors are paying for them today. Let's start with the basics. The 2008 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began all the way back in 1909. That year marked the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and also introduced the very first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Fast forward to 2008, and we're looking at the final year that the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design was minted. That's right. In 2009, the U.S. Mint introduced a new design series commemorating Lincoln's bicentennial with 4 different reverse images. But in 2008, we were still seeing the classic Lincoln Memorial on the back of the coin, which had been in use since 1959. That makes the 2008 penny a bit of a milestone. It marks the end of a 50-year era for the Lincoln Memorial reverse. And because of that, even ordinary 2008 pennies are becoming more popular with collectors who want to complete full sets or who specialize in end-of-era coins. Now let's talk about the varieties. The 2008 Lincoln cent was minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If your coin doesn't have a mint mark under the date, it came from Philadelphia. A D mint mark means Denver, and an S means San Francisco. The coins from Philadelphia and Denver were made for everyday use and minted in the billions. On the other hand, the San Francisco coins were proof coins, specially struck for collectors and sold in proof sets. These proof coins have a mirror-like finish and are usually in near-perfect condition. Because of their quality and lower mintage numbers, proof versions of the 2008 penny tend to be more valuable, especially in high grades. Now here's where things get really interesting. Some 2008 pennies are worth much more than 1 cent. Why? Errors and condition. Minting errors can significantly boost a coin's value. Some rare 2008 Lincoln cents have been found with off-center strikes, double dies, or die cracks, and collectors pay a premium for these mistakes. For example, a 2008 penny with a double die obverse, where Lincoln's features or the words "in God we trust" appear doubled, can fetch tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the sharpness of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. Speaking of condition, let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless example. A 2008 penny in poor condition might only be worth its face value, or a few cents at most. But a high-grade 2008 cent, especially one graded MS67 or higher by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, can sell for several dollars or more. In fact, some mint state examples with perfect red color and no visible were sold for $10 to $50. A rare few in ultra-high grades have even sold for over $100. And those proof coins we mentioned earlier? A 2008 S-proof Lincoln penny graded PR70 can be worth anywhere from $20 to $75 or more depending on demand. But the real jackpot comes from error coins. A well-known example is the 2008 D penny with a major die crack that runs across Lincoln's face. That type of dramatic error can turn an ordinary coin into a collectible worth hundreds. And since billions of these coins were made, there's always a chance you could stumble upon a rare variation sitting unnoticed in a pocket, a jar, or a roll of coins from the bank. Let's talk about current market values as of 2025. On average, a regular circulated 2008 penny is worth 1 cent. If it's in uncirculated condition, meaning it was never used and has no wear, it might bring 10 to 25 cents depending on the buyer. Mint state examples in MS65 condition or better typically sell for $1 to $10. Proof versions from San Francisco in PR69 or PR70 condition can bring between $15 and $50 or more. Rare error coins or high-grade examples certified by PCGS or NGC have sold for as much as $200 or more, depending on the rarity and visual appeal. So how do you know if your 2008 penny is valuable? First, check the mint mark. Look for AD, S, or no mint mark to identify where it was made. Then look closely at the coin for any unusual features. Are the letters doubled? Is there a visible crack, missing detail, or strange strike? If anything seems off, it could be an error coin. Next, examine the color and shine. Red pennies are more desirable than brown ones. And of course, condition is key. If you think you have a special penny, consider having it graded by a professional coin service. That small investment could pay off big if your coin turns out to be rare or high-quality. In conclusion, the 2008 Lincoln penny might seem like just another coin, but its place in history as the final year of the Lincoln Memorial design, along with potential errors and high-grade examples, makes it one to watch. Even if you don't strike it rich, collecting these coins can be a fun and rewarding hobby. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. So check your change, dig through those old coin jars, and see if you can find a 2008 penny worth far more than 1 cent. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a chance to discover the value of the coins you might already own. Drop a comment below if you have a 2008 penny, or if you've found any cool coin errors. Thanks for watching and happy hunting.